Welcome back. Let's take a quick look at the AV-8B for the Italian tech tree, which is behind the Tornado IDS in, well, the Italian tech tree. The GR7 and the AV-8B Plus are pretty similar. There are some main differences here, however, the main one being the weight as well as the thrust for the engine. At lower speeds, the AV-8B makes more than enough engine power to actually make up for the increase in weight. Once you start reaching higher speeds, that however changes because, well, Harrier engines really dislike high speed thrust, and there's no difference with the AV-8B. The difference goes from almost 1000 kilograms force at stationary to about 200 kilogram force at 1000 kilometers an hour. So at high speed the GR7 is just going to be plain better, and it's going to be plain better at lower speed too, simply because it's almost 600 kilograms lighter. There are some other differences, like the gun. The 25mm equalizer cannon on this thing is absolutely fantastic. Over 1000 meter a second velocity, hits quite hard, one gun 300 rounds instead of the GR7 that has two cannons with 100 rounds per gun, which is absolutely nothing. But let's take a quick look at an engagement here with the SMT MiG-29. He dives on us, we start pre-flaring because we do not want to get R73'd, and because the SMT is rather heavy and we have the ability to kind of thrust vector, we are gonna try and stay behind him. Of course, he is gonna have the advantage at the start here because he's actually gonna lose speed, he's gonna gain position. I can continue to pre-flare because I have enough of them, and I just really want to make sure that I do not gonna get slammed from behind. If you have seen my R73 video, you know exactly what I mean. And at one point I'm simply just too slow and he can't really do anything. He's very close to us, he's afterburning, and because of that the A9L will track right through his flares. The issue with the VTOL capabilities of something like the Harrier is that it's kind of hard to control. You don't really have any airflow over your rudder, you don't have airflow over your ailerons and stuff. You're going very slow, it's very awkward to aim, and you only have one gun on the bottom left here. It's kind of positioned low, it's kind of awkward to aim. It's not terrible, it's definitely usable, but you'll find that you very often will just send a missile their way because at low speed it's just an absolute bitch to aim. Let's look at some other engagements here. Of course, keep in mind, this is the dev server. Things might change. Maybe like the island on the right here, maybe it's actually not going to be floating above a forest in the next iteration. But you never know. At the end of the day, Harriers fight in a very particular manner. You need to kind of lull people into these low speed dogfights, and then you have to hope that they don't energy trap you. If they start boom and zooming you, if they start running away, you can't really do much against them. However, at top tier, for some reason, everyone just tries to dogfight you, which makes for some absolutely fantastic gameplay, because I can actually show the VTOL capabilities and what this plane is good at. But keep in mind, if they fly it properly, I get nothing done. So, same thing here, we go head on with an SMT. The SMT this time, however, wasn't that fast, but we are in this R73 lock circle, as you can see. And exactly that's why we are pre-flaring, because we don't want that to happen. If I flare too late, it might just slam me, and I have plenty of flares, I have plenty of countermeasures. Why not use them? I'd rather use them than die on the spot. And here's the velocity of that gun, absolutely insane. We point and click and down he goes. Absolutely no rounds needed to connect there for him to just absolutely be disintegrated. Now, there is a Mirage 2000 somewhere in front of us, I don't know exactly where, but then he starts locking us up. You see that there? Nice new RWR, and the RWR is pretty helpful. It shows I'm being locked up by a pulse Doppler radar, so I'm gonna go into the terrain. I'm chaffing and flaring just in case he magic 2s me, and then we go up over his nose and we make sure to do the exact same thing again. We are gonna try and sit in his turning circle. He just took off, but this is the dev server, so he's probably gonna be on pretty low fuel, and I managed to get a hit in. This time, however, it didn't do critical damage, and we are just gonna try to stay above him, and just inside of his turning circle we try to go just slow enough that he kind of just passes out in front of us, because the Mirage 2000 5F does turn better. And that's the low position gun, which kind of bites us in the ass. And here I'm trying to just kind of stay above his nose. This is very sketchy, but luckily we managed to directly turn behind him, and now he is forced to run away. Now we have two missiles, and I need to kill this guy right now because there's also a MiG-29 in the area. So I'm just gonna shoot both my missiles off in the hope that I can kill him. If it doesn't kill him, he needs to maneuver and he needs to make it so that the missile doesn't slam him. which in turn makes him slow enough for me to just kind of sit in front of him. Down goes the Mirage 2000. And then the tickets drop and we lose on tickets, but that's not important because we are flying in the dev server. Let's take a look at the differences besides the engine and the increase in weight. Of course, the GR7 is notorious for having 20 trillion flares. This thing has only 180, more than sufficient, pretty good loadout. It's not gonna make you able to just set it on automatic and let it pop the entire game, but 180 is more than enough if you are actually paying attention to it. And just like the Harrier GR7, this thing gets some of the same features. It of course gets the thingy in the nose here. It's very limited. It can only go so much left and right. This is the most I can do. This is the most it can go up. And this is the most it can go down. It does have IR&V or heat or whatever you want to call it. Thermals, that's the word. But you cannot zoom in and you have a very limited range of motion. You do of course get the lightning port just like you do on the GR7, which is a lot better. And also probably the main reason you are going to be playing this thing. Because when it comes to ground pounding, this thing is probably going to fare you a little bit better than something like a Tornado. Of course, the pod has much more range of motion. We can almost look behind ourselves to the left and to the right. And then we have up and down, kind of just obstructed by the nose. And then all the way down is almost 90 degrees, which is pretty fantastic. And of course, this thing can zoom in. If I can finally find it again, it can zoom. You have thermals. It's kind of just what you expect. And then of course you also have this, the cockpit. The cockpit is fantastic, pretty high quality. Kind of what you expect from a good cockpit, to be honest. It's very modern. You get the camera here on the right that doesn't really work yet. And of course the absolute massive RWR that we find on the left. But unless you hate your life as much as I do and you decide to fly this thing out in RB as an air superiority fighter, like I will do when the patch comes live, then you are going to be flying this thing in ground RB, like a ground pounder, and it probably also the reason why it gets placed behind the Tornado IDS. Now the loadout that you have right here is pretty similar. You also have 4 of the paveways. However, the AV-8B is a little bit more suited for those quick takeoff runs, dropping and then just getting the hell out. The Tornado is faster, but it's also 20 times more of a boat. So this thing might be a little bit better for ground RB. I'm not really entirely sure on the details on that, because well, I don't play ground RB and I honestly just have no clue. Here is the loadout options for the people that want to see such a thing. And of course the main difference here will be the other gun. The equalizer here is pretty damn good. You are looking at a pretty decent amount of penetration as well. 66 millimeters, which is pretty okay for just shooting roofs. You don't have the most amount of ammo to strafe many, but it's pretty decent. It's accurate, it hits hard, and more than that there's really not much else to say. If you have any questions, let me know down below, and you will see me in the next one.